Hello everyone. So the following presentation is based on my thesis work which is currently ongoing. The thesis aims to study the experiences of European people from their stay in India in order to question the importance of ethnicity in interactions between European and Indian people and to better understand ethnicity and ethnocentrism. I propose that there is a need to study interactions between various ethnic groups because ethnic differences between in-groups and out-groups emerge in specific interactions depending on those involved. Thus, ethnicity and ethnocentrism can explain the occurrence of certain interactions between Europeans and Indians. The terms ethnicity and ethnocentrism still do not have an agreed meaning in sociology. Current research questions some of the aspects of these terms and provides new insight into the concepts. My motivation to study ethnicity and ethnocentrism in India through a European lens stems mainly from my own experiences in India and the desire to understand them better. I will not be able to establish the connections between my field work and the concepts of ethnicity and ethnocentrism properly within the scope of this presentation, but I will focus mainly on a few findings from my field work. Based on the interviews I carried out to gather data from Europeans, I found that in India there is a sweeping generalization that most Europeans are rich, sexual, and less moral beings. These stereotypes are manifested in interactions with European people and are being expressed both directly and indirectly. However, I would like to point out that the stereotypes need to be understood in context. Since they are context specific, they can take up various forms and there are different dynamics to them. The stereotype of Europeans as rich people was, for example, manifested in several situations in stores, such as, and I quote, "People thought that I got lots of money, they assumed it. When I was in the shop, in the clothing store, looking for shirts, the employers, they were just saying it. Money, money, lots of money." End quote. The perceptions of sexuality are manifested, for example, in the form of sex proposals from random strangers. Again, I quote, "I was in Goa and I was with my husband who is Indian and with some friends, so I was with 4 or 5 men. We were sitting at the beach and drinking beer, and then I went to the bar to buy more beers, and there was this man coming from nowhere, and he was like, your friends left. I can help you with this beer." He came with this very nice proposal of having sex. I was like, "You saw me with people, no?" He completely misunderstood the situation that I was with Indian men. End quote. Interestingly, there is a contradiction about whether the Indians consider themselves superior or inferior to Europeans. Firstly, Europeans are often characterized as people with inferior cultural values. However, on the other hand, European people are often treated like superior human beings and are being shown extraordinary respect. The experience of one of the respondents who was invited for a Yakshagana performance can serve as evidence for showing this extraordinary respect. I quote, "If there is something like that, they always ask you to sit in the front and then they always welcome you from the stage. You always feel like someone important, like a celebrity." End quote. This point of contradiction needs to be further developed at the level of social relations and can later be associated with the perception of superiority of in-group over out-groups, which is one of the facets of ethnocentrism. Different factors need to be taken into consideration too. For example, patriarchal power relations also have an impact on the interaction with Europeans. Indian people usually tend to address European men instead of communicating with a European woman directly. Among the aspects of ethnicity that can be studied, its fluidity can, for example, be mentioned. Europeans are often in interactions with Indians identified as Europeans or Westerners, and their individual ethnic identities are not understood. This understanding of European ethnicity depends on perception and uh, therefore can be seen as fictional cultural construction. It does not necessarily have a real basis. The perception is fluid and has the potential to overcome some of the aspects that can constitute one's ethnicity. For example, the skin color functions as an identifier which helps people to place those they are interacting with. However, interactions have the potential to override the skin color aspect, since the claim of Europe being a country of origin has a more determining influence on further interactions. Those Europeans whose appearance is not viewed as European experience similar situations like other Europeans after introducing themselves as European people. Thus, there's a potential fluidity of the ethnic group membership. To complete my research project, I have established the connections between the experiences of European people from their stay in India and the concepts of ethnicity and ethnocentrism in order to be able to question the importance of ethnicity in inter-ethnic interactions and understanding of concepts of ethnicity and ethnocentrism. Thank you.